Bill Vartnaw is the author of two books of poetry, In Concern for Angels from Taurean Horn Press, 1984, and Suburbs of My Childhood from Beatitude Press, 2009, and four chapbooks. Bill has been the publisher of Taurean Horn Press, an independent poetry press, for 50 years. After moving back to his hometown of Petaluma from San Francisco, he served as Sonoma County Poet Laureate and assisted Geri Digiorno with the Petaluma Poetry Walk in some capacity beginning in 1999 until he became the director somewhere in the 20 teens. He is an unofficial co-founder of Rivertown Poets and was a great help to me in the early days of our series. Please welcome Bill Vartnaw.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Yeah, I'm going to start with a poem from Carolee Sanchez, and since I had 50 years last year with the Taurean Horn Press, I was too tired to celebrate, so this is sort of part of my celebration. The press was kind of built around Carolee in the early days, especially. So this is from Spirit to Matter, and this poem is called Symbols. Symbols release energy, move from mind to matter, matter very much, become stored knowledge, precious entities collected as beads or bytes, restored on recycled trees. Somewhere long ago, on an ordinary day, a human mind perceived nature's random paintings as recorded reflections of familiar things. Windprints on sand or watermarks on rocks, holding line and shape together to form animal, fish, fowl, tree, branch, leaf, human faces, human bodies. Somewhere on earth, on an ordinary day, a human hand understood the magic of transcription, used stick, stone, and bone to etch symbols from her mind into wood, sand, and stone. That's Symbols. I'm doing a whole career here, so it's going to be all over the place. So, and for those of you who are missing Monday Night Football, I have it capsulated right here in this series, which I wrote in 76, which is now called the Wamba Poems. Anyway, opening kickoff, first down and 10 yards to go on the 47-yard line. Midway through the second quarter, first down and 10 yards to go on the 47-yard line. Wamba swears he is having a deja vu experience. Billy Ralph explains the rules of the game. A camera on the sidelines pans the stands for beautiful women. Everyone is wearing shoulder pads, girdle pads, knee pads, and helmets. The left guard pulls. The quarterback fumbles the handoff. A fight breaks out in the fourth row. No one is hurt on the play. A disinterested man in white shouts, "Cold beer, bottle of beer here." The down changes. The teams huddle. Someone thinks the beauty of the game lies in the eyes of the spectator. Someone else's favorite player darts off tackle behind a trap block and hits the open field in a game not necessarily being played today. The referee throws a yellow flag. A physicist hazards a guess on wind resistance as the flag lands on the grass. There is no conflict. A child bites down on a hot dog. Mustard falls on his green lap. The PA announces a penalty for illegal procedure. Number 74, a tackle with the wind knocked out of him, lies on his back with his knees up. His hands are taped and bleeding. Someone calls timeout. A button is pushed. Millions of people watch a life insurance commercial. A couple make love unnoticed, except for Billy Ralph, in the last row of seats. They are still wearing shoulder pads. The memory of Wilhelm Reich lingers over them like a passing zephyr. Touchdown, yells the radio announcer. Number 33 throws the ball into the stands. Another fight breaks out. Another identity crisis culminates. The referee lifts his hands above his head. 5 plays later, first down and 10 yards to go on the 47-yard line. So what's new, says Wamba. You have to play it to believe it, says Billy Ralph, limping out of the stadium with an old injury. That was the 70s. Okay. This is a poem that I wrote also in the 70s because this was the first day, the only day actually that I took time off to go to a poetry reading. Ferlinghetti and Andrei Vazhneshevsky were reading at Norris Auditorium, and I was driving cab that day. And I went to the reading, and then the first person in my cab was this person from World War I. And then he saw his friend, and he started telling me all these stories. And this is the poem that came out of that. World War I in an American Legion cap, short, stiff steps behind a 4-legged cane through tenderloin trenches and into the R&R of low-cost housing, paid monthly by the Social Security of 9.2 howitzer memories and muggings, and the gap of other old scars and wrinkles, reinforcing a world view. Hell is growing old in American cities. We were great then, broke isolation for the ideal, and volunteered to run like crazy through the shrapnel and charcoal horror we made of the old world, spitting bullets in the sperm of tough talk, bottled in melting pot frustration and the stench of ghetto walk-ups. We were all whores then, but whores with a dream, and that was better than being peasants. World War I shuffles the dirt between soul and concrete. He must catch up with the pace he sets for himself in this transvestite night of neon necromania, where danger jumps like a stairway junkie from the thresholds of shadow dedicated to the unknown soldier and other prisoners of war. He pushes on to where the porno palace marquee radiates safety. He waits at the red light with the laughter of a corner hooker, while steel horses strafe the intersection with obnoxious odors and the flash of ear-splitting sirens. We were heroes then, with a job to do. All around, there is nothing but devotion to purpose. The gray-skinned panhandlers wrapped in blankets and lice, scrounging through trash cans for their lunch. The holes in the ground, the blood-stained mud below the scream of bullets, the senseless bodies, the bodies writhing with wounds and dismemberment, the red and ruddy-faced drunk passed out and cursing on apartment house steps, the screaming 3-time loser hands cuffed behind him, pushed head first into the powder blue police services car. Crawl over these monuments of manhood, feel the rub of flesh and khaki and blood and earth and horror and bone and self-hatred. Waiting, waiting and waiting for nightfall, for help from the trenches, caught in a no man's land between the button and the breaking point, in the search and destroy mindset of Father knows best. Fact finding, fault finding, perfect binding, and the sweet perversity of how much can you take. The vet in pointed cap and cement shoes pushes his purple heart through the shell shock of General Headquarters, home of the brave, till he again reaches relative safety in the hut 2-3 of his room, where he can fall back on his bed, look up at the ceiling, and think about the good old days. Uh, and this is also from In Concern for Angels. It's called Contact Sport. The choices we made to lose touch, to become phantoms, another person. I stood in a crowd looking up. The lead ball swung by the crane. Boom! There is a fascination. How much the structure can take, how the impact turns to rubble below. Dust flies. How the impact turns to rubble below. We are made of this, up from the foundation. The framework often bends to unlikely degrees before collapsing. Boom! Each rivet registers each blow. One by one, the crowd leaves, stunned by the building's strength, the machine's power, the waste, the marked absence in the making. In time, the debris will be cleaned up and hauled away. The new purposes, two new purposes, or simply junked. The clean space will hardly seem natural. I think of Neelan's quiet intensity driving down the middle, the foul, the anger, drawing us closer into the bounds of group and self-consciousness. Thompson's laughter after a set shot swish. It was psychic how some plays were so pretty. Pick and roll, a pass the moment I broke to the basket. We sense each other's moves, keep moving, the magic, we grow, let each other know immediately. There is an agreement between us. As one gets better, we all improve, or the game loses interest. Everhart became a threat from the corner. Herney banks the ball off the backboard. Ankles and elbows reach for the rebound. Take it back! Our memory changes things, makes them current within the structure of present opinion and belief. Buildings that now stand like skeletons or holes in the ground will become meaty with walls and plumbing. In our excitement, we may not consider that what is gone grows on without us. We may not hear the hoary-haired individuals say, "Oh, sure, I know where that is. You mean where the old pyramid building used to be?" Boom. We are carriers of each other's identity. At each moment, we choose who we are and who agrees. This poem is called Dear Hilma. Dear Hilma, It's almost 20 years since you had your stroke. I've carried your eyes with me since then. 30% anger, 70% fear. You carried a whole personality in those eyes. It wasn't the personality prevalent before the stroke, but you couldn't speak. And your eyes said, help me, in every possible way they could. I didn't know how. The social, I didn't, I didn't know how. The social worker at the hospital said, all you can do is make her comfortable. She's 94. Let us send her to a rest home. And I nodded. When I visited you, it was your eyes that greeted me, that reproved me for the final months until I got the call from the nurse who had never had a patient die on her shift before. She cried, and now I realize you were crying through her because you couldn't before, not in your frozen body. So I'm letting that look in your eyes go. It's probably about time I do. They had become too heavy. I'll remember the freedom of our tears instead. Uh, a poem in from the mile to, from the Nile to the Milky Way. This is for David Meltzer, and it comes with a quote from Charles Olson. Man's splendor is a question of which birth. A story has reigned upon our unconscious minds, whether we choose to believe it or not. The dream comes with its universe, like the flooding of the Nile, and each flood, its variation, whether spiritual, biological, astronomical, psychological, and or political. Each must touch the body of man, woman, either building it, stretching it, molting, breaking, or killing it. Let us turn each flood into a growing season. Food for the body, food for thought. We must feed each other. We are all other, not the quick advertisement we are selling. We must prepare for the next deluge, and it will come. Dig your ditches soon enough. Dig them deep, far, and wide enough to handle the next inundation. Remember to turn the soil, open the earth, for the story moves us forward. We do not move forward, or we do not move forward. We know it is made up with words we use every day and dreams we have dreamt, whether we remember them or not. And that somewhere the word for our dream is but one letter away from becoming comfort, salvation, peace. The right combination of our conscious blood, sweat, and laughter. Tears, like the flood, are a gift. Can change this word to the one we think is better or richer or true. Artemis Pantoum. Artemis is the virgin. She is the huntress. She turned Actaeon into a stag. I say Artemis purifies. She is the huntress, the goddess of bloodletting. I say Artemis purifies. Take me to the river. The goddess of bloodletting oversees the rite of the virgin. Take me to the river, winding through our psyches. Overseeing the rite of the virgin, Artemis is a bringer of light, winding through our psyches. I say Artemis purifies. Artemis is a bringer of light like her brother Apollo. I say Artemis purifies as the maiden of the silver bow. Like her brother Apollo, Artemis is a healer or bringer of death. As the maiden of the silver bow, she is a moon goddess. Artemis is a healer or bringer of death. On Olympus, she is not a triple goddess. She is a moon goddess, but her actions reflect the light of the soul. On Olympus, she is not a triple goddess, but she always is. Her actions reflect the light of the soul. Artemis is a soul shaker. She always is. Light that excites the blood. Artemis is a soul shaker. Orion sees. He is shot like an arrow. Light that excites the blood, the flood that beauty is. Orion sees. He is shot like an arrow. I say Artemis purifies. The flood that beauty is connects the Nile to the Milky Way. I say Artemis purifies. Mother and crone connect the Nile to the Milky Way. Artemis is a virgin who is mother and crone. She turned Actaeon into a stag.